Yeah, change the subject.
Okay. Let's see. Live. Okay. So 5 hours report. Yeah, that wasn't working. What's going on, everybody? Sorry, man. Just hopping on here. It was getting a little late. The process here. Hold on 1 second. Why is this not connecting to the right camera? Now we have all sorts of problems today. Technology can be a beautiful thing when it works right. Let's see here. I don't know why my camera's not working right, but it is what it is. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Thank you guys for popping on here, man. Just go ahead. I wanted to go ahead and get these questions up and running. And paid one-on-one mentorship. You right out the box, huh? So I do that. Do me a favor. Here, I'll do this here. Go to info at connectedly.com. For you who is looking for that, go here. All right, info at connectedly.com, and then we'll talk there. So, oops. I'm just gonna turn this off just a second. Stupid. Sorry, the nice camera doesn't seem like it wants to work well. But real quick, can you guys hear me? I've been reaching out. Yeah, so I get so many. Like literally, I have right now. Let me just do a quick look for today. It's 71 just from today. 71 missed messages. So a lot of times they do fall through the crack. I apologize for that. Searching for oldies, so I apologize for that. All right, so we can hear each other. Cool. So this is where you can go ahead. And matter of fact, go ahead and call this number. Actually, just go to my Instagram and you can get the number there. And you can call or text me, and right after we get off of this. All right. So, how's everybody doing? First of all, man, thank you guys so much for popping on here. Ramona, how are you? And just glad to be on here, man. I want to go ahead and get on here and just get right to it. So, this is going to be all about you and what questions you guys have and what you want to go over. What do you want to talk about? I obviously have an idea of some of the things that I want to talk about, but I don't want to take up all the time me coming out here and just running my mouth asking you or telling you stuff that is that's not applicable to what you're looking for. So what I want you guys to do is right now, go ahead into the comments in the comment box here, whether or not you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook, hop on here and ask your questions. Maybe you're going through something with real estate related. Maybe you're going through something where you're trying to figure out how to get your contract signed, where you're wondering what to say to a particular seller. I want to spend this time right now with you guys answering questions that you may have. All right. One of the things that I know that when I was first starting off was having that conversation, right? That conversation when you're on the phone with someone that is a cold call. Like that was a very, very difficult thing for me to kind of get over, right? Is anybody experiencing any issues with cold calling? Is anybody experiencing any issues when talking to, finally, when you get on the phone with the seller? My partner and I, we had a closing yesterday. I never seen the property, which is a beautiful thing. right? We had a closing yesterday. Got a closing yesterday, and the guy. Let me see if I can go to it real quick. Let me pull it up so I can show you. Yeah, I can pull this up. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's do stream to allow. Here, I guess I can't share my screen over here. Huh. All right. I wonder if you guys can see this, or can you see the? You probably can't see the connectly screen here, man. All right, so I'll just talk to you about it. We had a guy that came in on December 7th. Came in on December 7th from, I'm sorry, December 17th. December 17th. You guys were able to see that? That when I went over and showed we can see my screen. Huh, okay. Let me switch over and let me try it again. Let me try it again. So I want you to, I want to see if you guys can see the screen right here. And right now in this particular view, you can't see, I can't see you. So I'm going to ask you right now, can you see this screen right here? This white screen with these text messages. So, because I can't see what you're writing right now, I have to click out of here to be able to see what you're writing. So can you see this screen right here where we're talking in a text message thread? And can someone answer that for me? Yes, awesome. So you can see that. All right, perfect. It doesn't let me know. So I'm gonna go back to that now because now I'm looking at you guys. So perfect. Sean, since I know you have my text message, man, if you actually have, if you can text me and let me know if things are not going as well. All right, cool. So let me go back to that then. All right, so as you can see right here on the right-hand side here, this lead came in on December 17th, right, at 6:55 a.m. or 6:55 p.m. This was a paid social media ad, okay? And it came in through an ad that I was running. Some of you guys are in Connectedly. You guys know what that ad that looks like. It looks like a map with a whole bunch of houses and prices on it. So he came in there. He created his contact. He visited the page, and he booked his appointment all in the same day. Okay, but since then, there's a lot of messaging back and forth here, right? From December 17th. Okay, let me try to get back to the original one. Wow, it's a lot of messaging. All right, so here's where the process started, and here's what I want to kind of talk to you guys about. Here's what I want you guys to kind of get a good picture of. A lot of times, I mean, today is what, the 10th, right? We closed on this property yesterday. A lot of times, people won't follow up, or we won't follow up. We won't see that this is a long play type of a game. Okay, so this came in on December 17th, and then what happened is this: is that he kind of, as soon as he came in, he got this automatic message here, right? He had booked an appointment, and then we sent out another automatic message, right? That said, whatever this says here, right? And then, so he doesn't know that this is automatic, right? This is not me actually texting him, right? He responds, tomorrow will work, all right? Now, once that response happens, this now kicks off and allows someone to know, okay, wow, this is a real person now, okay? This is someone that's actually, a live person that wants to talk to us about selling their home. So this portion right here is where it transfers from automatic, right? Before then, automatic. All these things right here and this are all automatic, right? He responds to this text message. the system says, wow, okay, we need to let our acquisitions manager know that this is a live person that wants to schedule a call about selling their home. Okay. Then we have a series of conversations, as you see here. Right? So as you can hear that conversation there, that goes on and on and on and on and on. We have a whole bunch of, we got text, I'm sorry, picture messages that are coming through, right? So at this point, he signed a contract here, right? He's already signed a contract. So all the way down, all these phone conversations, back and forth, back and forth. COVID has made things take things a lot longer than expected. But finally, here on February 9th, right here, you can see it right here. Thank you for being one of the nice guys. Smooth closing. I forgot to leave the keys, so how can I get them, right? And then this is the magic one right here. We already seen one of his properties. We already got it under contract. He wants to get the rest of the houses sold, right? So my point in showing you guys this is that you have to understand that, man, a lot of people would give up, right? They're saying, man, I didn't get the sale right away, right? It takes, sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes a long amount of time um, to nurture the seller, right? To go back and forth. There was one times where the sale, he was upset. Like he was talking about, oh, you guys are scamming, and he didn't realize the process, right? He didn't realize that it wasn't us. We were literally waiting on the county at one point. We had to get a in that particular county, in order to close and say, hey, everything's good to go, you got to get the water record, make sure that the water bill was paid, right? So they took like 3 weeks to send us that, right? And so he was getting upset about it, okay? And so, he was ready to cancel the contract. It was a lot of back and forth. But my point being is that kudos to our acquisitions manager. He was able to smooth the process out, and he was able to get us across the finish line, and we closed on that property yesterday, right? So my point in showing you guys this is that some of us here, we get a little bit, December 17th to February 10th, almost 2 months, just about 7 days shy of 2 months, 8 days shy, because we closed yesterday, 8 days shy of 2 months. A lot of us would give up, right? But in this game, you have to be persistent. And once you get that first deal done, the wheels start turning, and momentum starts working, right? This guy, I believe, has like another 20 properties or something like that, right? That he wants to sell the vast majority of them. He wants to get rid of and liquidate a lot of his properties. Excuse me. The next one that we have, the buyer that we took to the first one already wants to buy that next one, right? So we already got a buyer set up. Now we can start to move through this process a lot quicker specifically with him, right? So these are the things that I want you guys to kind of keep in mind when we're going through these things, or where you're going through these things. Trust me, not everything is just smooth sailing. All right. Tiffany says, let me show you. Say here, I have a deal I'm working on making, and would like to make sure I'm working it right before I send the contract in the AM. Cool. So Tiffany, um, as much as you can without giving away the address of that property, let us know what your let us know what's going on with that. You can type that up. I know it takes a little bit of time to probably type some of that. Type your question up, and then I'll answer your question here on the call here. Anyway, what I really just want to make sure that you guys understand. Actually, I'll put this up here. What I want to make sure you guys understand is that when you're going through these things, there's some things that we can do to keep the process a little bit smoother, right? Keep the process a little bit smoother. And so one of the things that I've learned is that it's very simple when you think about it, but if you don't do it in the beginning, it can completely just derail a a closing, right, or situation. and that is giving the information to the seller that they need, all the information they need up front, being upfront with them. All right, Tiffany, I just saw it come through. I got you. You got anything else to add to it? Go ahead. Um, so one of the things that I love to do is I love to put all the negatives, or the perception of the perceived negatives, up front. And I like to do that, and I'll go ahead, especially if I'm face to face with them. I like to put my hands up and say, listen, I'm going to let you know all these things up front. When you do this, when you're opening yourself up like this, you're letting your body language is expressing truthfulness and openness, right? So I said, listen, I want to let you know these things up front. Right now, the way COVID has happened, the way it shaped our, our landscape, and how things are done and how real estate is done, it's taking sometimes 2, 3, sometimes 4 times longer to get deals done. Not because of us slowing up at the bank or the money or anything else, just simply because people at the county level are taxed so heavily, and a lot of them are still working from home, or some of them, are out sick or out quarantined because someone else got it. So this process can take a little bit longer than usual. Okay, and I just want to make sure, I want to preface that for you up front. All right, this takes a lot of the pressure off of you, because now, where before, when things were moving quickly, I would have to tell people, hey, we're going to close in 14 to 21 days. Now I'm saying 45, 60 days, right? And they understand, they're okay with it because they understand the climate. But you need to let these people know that up front, so that when that does happen, or if that does happen, you can say, hey, but remember when I told you that this might take X amount longer because of blah, 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 right? Another thing I like to tell people, because we're now moving in the direction where we're, we found another broker who's going to allow us to list our properties on the MLS, and they are only going to they're going to get the 3% on the back end. So we're representing the seller, they're placing it on the MLS, and they'll get their 3% commission. So how does that work? That real estate agent, or that real estate broker who's going to allow the real estate agent to do this, typically, on a normal real estate transaction, a real estate broker typically does not represent both ends. It can happen, but typically it's the seller is represented by Keller Williams, buyers represented by Century 21, right? Two different agencies, two different brokerages, right? So with that, what happened is this: is that now I am essentially representing the seller, okay? And I'm telling the brokerage that you're not going to take my percentage of my money. You're not going to take a percentage of the seller's money. You're going to take the percentage from the buyer. So typically, in a normal real estate, regular retail real estate transaction, there's a seller, there's a buyer. The buyer funds, let's say $100,000 for a property, right? They're going to get, the selling agent is going to get 3%. Typically, there's no stamp of there's like no official rule. It can be anything, but customary, it's three. It's a total of 6%. 3% for the seller, 3% for the buyer. So that means out of that $100,000, $6,000 is coming out of the seller's pocket. So the seller just sold their home for $100,000, but they're only getting 94,000 because the real estate agents took 6,000 and put it in their pocket for selling the home, right? So one of the allures of dealing with wholesaling is that that doesn't happen, right? The money for the wholesaler is paid by the buyer, but now we're bringing in a real estate agent, okay, and we're going to bring this real estate agent in on the team as our dispositions manager, because now that real estate agent is working with a brokerage that is going to allow us to market, or him to market, on the MLS. So now let's just say that same house for 100,000. Let's say we got that house under contract. The seller got it for $100,000, right? We're going to add, let's say, $10,000 onto it. Okay. Now that's our wholesale fee. We want to have the entire $10,000, right? The seller wants to get their entire $100,000. Okay. Now What does that mean for the real estate agent? In order for them to get paid, they have to add their 3% on. So their 3% in that particular case is going to be $3,300, right? $3,300, right? So they're gonna market it on the MLS, not for 100,000, not for 110,000. They're going to market it for $113,300. Okay, that's where they're going to market that property, market their property for. Okay, which means at the sale, at the closing table, they're going to get $3,300. We're going to get $10,000, and the seller, the person who sold the property, is going to get their entire $100,000. Now, how is this possible? The reason why this is possible is because on the MLS, there are a lot of people buying properties at a higher price point. Okay, so the customer equals seller. Yes, yeah. So, okay, so you're saying you're referring to yours. Okay, got you. Um, so there are a lot of people buying at a higher price point. So a lot of these houses, like for example, I don't know if you heard that, but that house that I pulled up, that house was it was people living in that house. It wasn't a tear down. It wasn't a house where you got trees growing in it and there's mold in it and anything like that. People are living in that house. They're paying rent, right? So that's a house that people can live in. So we got that property at a wholesale price, meaning that we were able to get it way below what it was worth. So someone that maybe is either a newer investor, or investor who just wants a solid return, they're not looking for a home run, or even your regular buyer that wants to live there, they now can buy that property because who's representing them? A licensed real estate broker, right? They're representing them and saying, yeah, this is a good buy, right? And so now they're getting representation. Now they can bring their type of financing onto it, and now they can actuate that sale, right? They can buy that property. So they might have been looking for something that was, $140,000, $130,000, that was, in a similar condition, right? And now they're finding this property that the asking price is 113,300, and they're like, man, this is a steal. And there's so many of them out there. They're on it. Okay, so something I wanted to kind of bring up, but these are the things that you need to let your seller know ahead of time, right? And we do that, and now we've adapted, and we're adding this clause into our contract that we can list it on the MLS. Now, each broker is different. The broker that we're working with, that particular broker is requiring us to use the GAR form, which is basically the standard form for realtors in Georgia. If you're in Florida, it'd be the FAR form. If you're in, they're pretty much all of them are something, something AR, right, or whatever the initial is for the state, and then AR. But it's the official form that realtors use in that particular state. Okay. All right, so let's look at what Tiffany has here. Hopefully that gave you some insight here. Tiffany says it's a 2-1 and the ARV is 106. The customer has a mortgage. Okay, let's do this here. There we go. I think this is good. Cool. All right, so this is where we can't see. Cool. All right, so we got a 2-1 ARV. ARV is 106. So after we repair it, after we fix it up, it's $106,000, right? And the customer or the seller has a mortgage of Looks like at 45,000, and we'll pay 25,000 at closing table. So Tiffany, hold on 1 second. 45,000. The seller is going to pay 25,000 at the closing table. Is that what I'm reading? The customer, yeah, that is what she's saying. The seller is paying. So basically, the seller is going to knock down the mortgage payment. Is that what they're doing? Because they owe 45. So are they trying to knock it down to 20? Is that what the? If you could just put a yes or a no in there, so I can understand that. Yes. Okay. I don't know why they would do that, but okay. So ARV. So mortgage is 45K. Okay. Let's see what's the next thing you said. I took pics yesterday and no holes in the wall, wiring and plumbing still intact, roof work needed, and we'll have a GC go out to the property this weekend. Rehab cost estimated 30K. So we got rehab. $30,000. Okay. And customer is seller. The question is when listing. Okay, I'll get to that question. That's a very good question, Ramona. They just want out of the property. Okay, cool. So really, let's just do it like this. We're gonna act like the seller is going to do that, right? Hopefully they do. So we're gonna knock this down because we're gonna take that 25,000 that from here, where she says that the seller is going to pay 25,000 at closing. All right. So we knock $25,000 off of this, so that'd be 20K. So we're gonna say that the mortgage is worth $20,000. Okay. Mortgage is worth $20,000. We got rehab of 30, right? And so what is my question is no, sorry. So what is the question for this particular deal? Tiffany, what do you want to know? So what I'm looking at right now is that all in is a mortgage that needs to be paid off of 20K plus rehab of 30K. I'm missing how much you want to make. What's your wholesale fee? If you're doing a wholesaler, I don't know if you're trying to keep it, let me know that. And we got an ARV of 106. Okay. So let me do some math right real quick. Oh man, it's messing up. All right, so we got a ARV of 106,000 times 0.7. So we want to be in all for 74.2. So that will give you a 30% margin. So we want our all in to be at $74,200. Okay. They want out of the property. Okay. My offer is 20K. But how much are you? What do you mean your offer? What's your the thing I'm missing here is your wholesale fee. And are you wholesaling or are you trying to keep it for yourself? Right? So are you wholesaling it or are you keeping it for yourself? And if your offer is 20K, that's exactly what this would be if they pay that 25,000 down, right? They bring 25,000 to closing, then you'd be coming out of. All right. So Tiffany, if you're wholesaling it, what do you want your wholesale fee? Because we need that. That's the missing piece right now. Type in what your wholesaling fee would be, or what do you want it to be? You want your wholesaling fee to be $40,000. Okay. So that math doesn't work. Like, not what do you want to sell it for? How much money do you want to go in your pocket? Not how much money is coming in through escrow. How much money do you want in your pocket? You're saying your offer and your fee are two different things. So do you want to make $10,000? Do you want to make $20,000? Are you trying to make $15,000? You're trying to make $5,000? You're trying to make $40,000 off this. That doesn't work at 40,000 because 20 plus 30, that's 50, right? So if you add your fee of $40,000, okay, you're at $90,000, right? Plus 40 equals 90K. Okay? 20, 30 is 50 plus 40, $90,000. As someone who wants to buy something, they're looking at this thing at 74,200. Okay, all right, now I'm seeing what you're saying. You're looking for 15 to 20. Okay. So we got to be careful with I guess terminology, right? So if your wholesale fee is 20, 50, that would work, right? If your wholesale fee is 20K, okay, 20 plus 30 is 50 plus 20 equals 70K. Okay, so you're within that as long as this rehab budget works, right? So as long as that rehab budget works, then you're good to go. And as long as this ARV is true and that rehab budget is true, then that works. Then $20,000 would be an acceptable wholesale fee, and it would be a good buy because at the end of this, they'll be in it for about 74 too when they factor in closing costs, right? And they'll be able to go ahead and put it on the market for 106, which is a 30% profit margin. Okay. So yeah, that math would work as long as it's math of 20K here, as long as this is right and that is right, right? And as long as that person brings that 25K to it. So, yeah, seems like that's a good one. The only thing I'm worried about, I would caution you on where you're at in Macon, right? Because there's some nice areas in Macon where you can get this. I don't know where you have it in Macon. A lot of Macon doesn't support $106,000, but there's those pockets, right, that do. So just make sure that you're really, really solid on an ARV. Okay. All right, cool. Let me go to, is the buyer paying cash? I heard that banks do not like to pay assignment fees. And you're right. So here's where you have to be creative in your contracting, right? Because you're right, banks do not like to pay them, okay? Assignment fees, but they will pay marketing fees. They will pay contractor fees, right? So how you market it on your form is going to determine how you get paid or whether or not a bank pays you, right? If you're going after that market, okay? So here's where a lot of you guys are in or might be in Chicago area, right? Or Philadelphia. So Illinois, the entire state of Illinois says that you can only wholesale one property every 12 months. Anything besides that one property, you have to have your real estate license, okay? So in Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia, they say you can't wholesale at all, right? You can't do that. So if you want to still do wholesaling, only thing that what you can do is you just can't call it wholesaling. You have to call it a marketing fee. Real estate agents can pay marketing fees all day long, right? Sellers can pay a wholesaler or a real estate professional to market their property all day long. They can do that, okay? So you have to be creative on what you're doing and how you're labeling what you're doing. What happened? Let me see here. Oh, and Ramona, let me know if I answered that question. What happens if the seller doesn't bring money to the table? Okay, so let's look at the math here. If the seller does not do that, So if the seller does not bring the $25,000 to the table, does the math still work? This is 45,000 now. 45,000 plus 30,000, that's $75,000, right? So, and now you still want to make $20,000. That's $95,000. That's way higher than what we needed to be at. Does not work. Okay. If they don't bring any money to the table, based off of this number here and based off what you gave me, the ARV hasn't changed, right? The rehab budget hasn't changed, right? They're going to want 30%, right? So they're going to want that 30%. So 30% profit margin between between $106,000 and $74,200. That's the profit margin that they're looking for, right? So it doesn't. You're already over it right here. Okay. So that's why I said for them. I mean, if they think about it, I mean, obviously, you don't want this to happen, but if they got $25,000 and the rehab budget is 30, they're only $5,000 away from being able to rehab it themselves, right? Here's something that you could do, Tiffany. Yours, if they didn't bring any money to the table, Tiffany, you wouldn't have an assignment fee. I mean, you could try to get one, but a prudent investor is probably not going to pay you, right? But here's another angle. Here's why I like to. The more I talk about this, the more I start to spend time on it. The other things can happen, right? So listen. Let's say that happens, right? Now, here's where Tiffany can be creative with this deal, okay? Tiffany, what we can do here is, let me get rid of all this real quick. What we can do here is we might be able to, let me just see here, but we might be able to get you more than we thought. Let's just take a look. All right. Okay, cool. Tiffany says the ARV is 106. Okay. Mortgage payoff balance is 45. Okay. We need a rehab of 30. All right, so cool. So if your buyer can come up with an extra 5K, or if they can't and Tiffany wants to partner with this buyer, not the buyer, the seller. If your seller can come up with an extra 5K to meet the requirements of your rehab budget, or Tiffany can contribute 5K, right? Let's just say this is going off of seller is no longer doing this, right? So let's just say that's complete, them giving you $25,000 is completely off the table now. They don't want to do that, okay? So if that's the case, and if sellers are, listen, I can't do it, Tiffany says, well, how about you take that 25 that you're going to spend, and we put that on towards the rehab budget, and Tiffany brings in 5K, or better yet, if they can find another 5K from someone else, that way Tiffany doesn't have to bring any money, okay? And now they're in it for a total of 75K, okay? And now they say, listen, because I'm bringing this together, because Tiffany's going to be managing this project, right? She's going to be the project manager, right? Because within this 30K, the contractor is getting paid, the tradesmen and women are getting paid, the plumber, whoever they need, the roofer, I think she said it needs a roof, right? Those people are getting paid. The person who's going to manage it is saying, listen, at the end of this thing is going to be worth 75K. We're going to sell it because the ARV for this area calls for 106. Okay, I think my marker's dying. Right? So they're going to sell it for 106. and they say, well, listen, you were getting ready to basically pay and take a loss. Now you might be in a position, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, to win and actually walk away with some money. Okay, and so what is that? Let's look at that 106 minus 75. I probably could do it in my head, but that's $31,000, right? So the difference between here, the 75K, and here is 31K. Okay. So if the seller is saying, no, I'm not bringing the 25K to it, I'm not going to do it, right? Well, you still have the problem, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. Let's try to figure out a solution to it. Now, I wouldn't bring this up first, especially if she's already going to, or he or she's already going to do that, and you can get 20K just from wholesaling it. But if you can if they don't want to do that anymore, if they say, no, I'm done with that, I'm not doing that, and say, okay, let's reinvest it back into the property. I oversee the entire project. I'll bring in all the tradeswomen, make sure the project gets done. And for that, at the end of it, there's going to be $31,000 left on the table. And we'll split that. Instead of you getting nothing, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, we'll split this down the middle 50-50. I do the work, you get the, you're financing it. How does that sound? In order to do that, though, Tiffany, in order to do that, you need to be on that contract. I mean, you need to be on that property, right? So I would tell them, listen, I need to have some equitable rights in this thing, because I don't want to do all this work and then you turn around and sell it and you don't send, we don't have an agreement. You don't send me any money, right? Novation. There you go. Yep. Yep. Cool. Hopefully that helped you out. Hopefully helped some other people out as well. That was a very, very good example. Stuff that I love to do, man. I love when people bring, questions like that to the table, because now everybody else that watches this, they'll get an opportunity to learn from that as well. Okay. All right. So if you guys have any other questions, pop those questions in there. No problem, Tiffany. Looks like Ramona said, so what would the verbiage for the contract be? Oh, so basically it's really simple. So you're say that like what we're using, our company, National Property Solutions. National Property Solutions is or the seller agrees, I'm sorry, the buyer agrees to pay National Property Solutions a X amount, whatever your wholesaling fee, but you can't call it a fee, that direct payment for the marketing of X property, right? 123 Main Street, right? It's very simple. If you have any questions about it, ask the real estate broker, or ask the lawyer to put it into there, and it's simple. It's just letting them know that you're getting paid. So I don't know if you I know Ramona is a real estate agent, so you probably have a closing coordinator, right? You have that closing coordinator. You just write into the contract that hey, the buyer or whoever, depending on how you want to market it, how you want to say it, the buyer or the seller is going to pay the closing coordinator, $497 for handling, or the transaction coordinator for handling the transaction, right? Same exact thing. That transaction coordinator could charge $1 million, right? There's no limit, right? And so if the transaction coordinator can do that, the marketing person can do that as well. The contractor can do that as well, right? A lot of times we think of these contracts that they're just cut and dry and that things can't be added. No, they can. It's just that everybody has to know about it. Number one, it has to be legal. Number two, and then we have to have signatures and consideration in place so that it actually is a legal binding agreement, right? So it doesn't have to be, something crazy. It can be very straightforward and simple. You just have to notify them and let them know what it is. Okay. Cool. All right. I think that is all the questions. I'm sorry that some of you guys couldn't see this thing, man. I'm trying to work with YouTube, and the thing is that you can't go live and just practice. So if I go live, it's on there. How many phone numbers and email addresses can you add to Connect Lead when you upload a list? When you upload a list, how many phone numbers and email addresses can you add? I mean, there's no. If you're talking about like uploading, no problem, Ramona. If you're if you're talking about uploading like contacts, there's no limit at how many contacts you can have 1 million contacts in there. But as far as phone numbers for you personally, like you want someone to call you because when you sign up with Connectedly, you get a phone number, right? Or you can pick a phone number. Again, you can have pretty much as many as you want. But every one cost, right? We don't hike up the price. They're not expensive, but you don't want to have a ton of different numbers for no reason. You want to make you just want to have the numbers that you need to have to effectively run your business. So yeah, but yeah, hopefully that helped out, man. And again, just make sure that if you guys know that we're doing this every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. You have questions. You have questions like what like Tiffany brought up. Hey, how do I structure this? What if they don't do this? Pop those into the chat. It takes a little bit of time for me to see them, but once they pop up here, I try to make sure and I refresh and I go back through to make sure that I don't miss anybody's questions because I want you guys to get value from this. All right. As always, man, this is sponsored by Connectedly.com. If you guys are remotely interested in automating your process, your sales process, like I showed you guys earlier in this video, where leads are coming in and you only talk to the leads that want to sell to you or that are interested in being that are serious about selling, and you're looking for a CRM, and if you're looking for text messaging or you're looking for email marketing, give us a shot. You get a 7-day free trial at Connectedly.com. Go visit Connectedly.com and get your 7-day free trial. And at the very least, in there you get an actual course on how to set up Facebook ads, how to run them. You're getting the targeted ads that I'm currently running, and the copy, the words that we say to drive in leads. So at the end of it, if you don't like it, at the end of 6 days, you don't want to go to the 7th day, cut it. But at the end of it, at least you got to learn how to run Facebook ads, and you can take that knowledge from in the future. Um, Blue One says, "What do you do when negotiating with sellers?" Um, I mean, it really depends on what's happening with that seller, but there's some tried and true things. Number one, if I'm negotiating with a seller, first of all, we don't start off negotiating, right? We start off with building rapport, right? And when it's time to make that transition, okay, and when it's time to get that transition of going from hey, building rapport, talking about the house or talking about what's going on in the world or whatever, and then it's time to go into negotiating. I like to make I like to kind of I like to transition that by saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, um, my goal as a real estate professional is to get as much money in your pocket as possible, right? And I know that's a lot different than some other people, but that's really what we want to do. We want to pay you as much as we possibly can, so that it's a win-win situation for everybody involved, right? And so, with that being said, it comes down to the point where we need to understand what's going to make you happy to walk away from this property. So, what is a good price point that's going to make you happy to walk away? And then I might tag in, all their issues. What's a good price point that'll allow you to walk away happy and not have to deal with the tax issues and not have to deal with the vagrants living in the home and not have to deal with the mold and not have to deal with the bad memories or the good memories or the memories of your father that just passed away, right? Whatever we talked about in that rapport building process to get them to the point where they're ready to start negotiating. I want to take the negative and I want to pull and extract that negative out of that conversation that we had earlier, and then put that forefront in their face again and say, here, what's going to do to make you happy to walk away from all of these negative points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Because we want that in their face. Okay. And then they'll say, a lot of times they'll just go into, man, to walk away, man, I would need blah blah blah. I would need $45,000 to walk away. All right, cool. All right. Or they might say, you know what, I don't, I'd rather for you to tell me, right? Well, Mr. Seller, I mean, I just feel like it's probably a better idea for you to give me your price, and I'm straight up. I'll let you know whether or not we can do that or not. But if you take the example of going into Walmart, you don't tell Walmart what the price is. You just see what the price is, and then you go from there. So with that in mind, what's the what will make you happy to get rid of all these issues? And I'll try for it twice. My rule of thumb is twice, right? I'll go for it the first time. I'll go for it the second time. If after that second time they're like, no, I don't care. I want to know. Um, I want to know what your price is, right? Then I'll tell them. I'll say, man, huh? My price will be low, right? Because I know no matter what price you give them, they're always going to try to go higher, right? 9 times out of 10, right? Even if in their mind they were thinking 45,000, and I told them 46,000, they're gonna be like, well, I wonder if I can get 47, right? So because I know that 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to go low. So let's say I need to get them at 20,000, right? Right. Let's say I need to get them at 20,000. I'll say, man, I think probably I'm somewhere around in that range of 16.5 to 17.2, somewhere around that range, right? And I'll just be quiet, and they will take it from there. Trust me. At that point, everything will come out. They'll let you know. Okay. So at that point, they're going to either say, man, that's a lot lower than I thought, or they're saying, okay, that's about where I was at, right? They say that, obviously you move right into, yeah, of course. I mean, I think that's a fair price, and we can close on this thing quickly, blah 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 blah, right? If they say no, hey, that's way lower than what we thought. Well, Mister, I asked you what made you happy. You didn't want to tell me. This is the price that makes me extremely happy, right? This is why I asked you for the first time, and that's why I set them up with what makes you happy, right? Because I kind of almost turn it into a joke. Like, well, I told you, I asked you what makes you happy. This price right here is 17.5 or 17.2. That makes me really happy. What? So let me ask you then, if that doesn't work for you, then what's a price range that works for you? What's the price range that makes you happy to walk away from all these issues? All right. So let's see. So hopefully that gave you some insight there. Okay, I see what. Let me see here. I see what Warren was asking here. When I skip trace a list through REI Skip, they give you 3 numbers and emails for each contact if available. Yes. So what I would do with that, if in connectedly adding that into there, what you want to do is number one, you want to try to verify. If you have a smaller list, you can try to verify which number is working right. Okay. If you don't, take that and you'll make that either three different lists where you're using phone number 1, phone number 2, phone number 3 for 3 separate lists, right? So you'll run phone number 1, and you'll see if that number bounces, because it'll give you that data. Say, hey, that number is not working. It bounced, right? You see, like when you look at your phone record, it'll give you, or your call record, it'll give you a bounce rate. All right. And so if that doesn't work, then you upload record number 2. What I would do is just take that and then make that 3 separate records, because we don't charge you per record, right? So in your contacts, you see that, just make it 3 separate. So if it's Tommy Holt, and Tommy Holt has 3 different numbers, Tommy Holt 1 with number 1, Tommy Holt 2 with number 2, Tommy Holt 3 with number 3, right? So that way you're texting or hitting all those numbers, and then look at it, see which ones are bouncing, and then eliminate those, so that you're only contacting the numbers that are hitting, right? But my personal preference, I like to just have the leads come in to me through Facebook or through some other type of attraction marketing. It's just a lot smoother. I know what you're doing, Warren, and I would encourage that, but on smaller scales on the text message marketing. Highly refined list on text message marketing. You're pulling it from PropStream. Get a really, really niche list, a defined list, so that it's not 3, 4, 500 long, right? You know, that's not what you want. You want something that's very, very segmented. Okay, you know, 100 or less that you can go through real quick, and you can refine that list and say, okay, I'm going to send a really targeted niche message to these people. All right. And so, because if you do that with a list that's 500 people, and then each one of those people have 3 numbers and 2 different email addresses, that can be a very tedious process. But if you do that on a smaller scale, you'll find that this is more of this is more quantity than quality. It's one of the things that you kind of have to wrap your brain around, because when we're doing cold calling or big mass text message blasting, it's all quantity. It's just, let me text message to 3,000 people. It's a shotgun approach, right? And that works, but it's a little bit more work. I like this because it's more of a sniper approach, right? I'm being very selective on who I'm messaging. Okay. All right. Let's see what this one says. I keep getting these deals brought to me via my website that are large deals. One was a Upper Manhattan building that was a few million, and then the other one was a Jersey City 1.1 condo. So again, numbers are numbers, right? They're large deals. There are investors out there that buy large deals. Um, I don't know if Micah is on here, but Micah was in my or is in my wholesaling course, and he connected with someone. There's a deal that is about $100,000 wholesale fee, $75,000 to $100,000 wholesale fee. That's a $2.4 million ARV on a property in the DC area. He also brought a $25 million Manhattan project and a $33 million Virginia Beach project. Right, there are buyers out there for that. If some of you guys don't know, that I am a partner and a principal in a bank, and our bank is a bank that really works on real estate deals, and so we are looking at those deals like heavily, right, for financing it, and because we're an investing type of a bank, and we teach people how to invest, and our members that we're bringing in are people that we want to be able to, you know, share this world of real estate with. Those individuals get to also participate in those. So those are big deals, but typically you're not going to just have one buyer. You're going to have a group, a conglomerate of people that are buying it, right? So you know, there's people out there for that. It's just, do the numbers work? The reason why we're spending the time on the $25 million property, the $2.4 million property, and the $33 million property is because it looks like the numbers work. As long as the numbers work, the money will find it, right? So don't be intimidated by large deals. They'll, literally, those larger deals just mean that your wholesale fee, if you're going to wholesale it, is a larger wholesaling fee, right? You're not going to sell a $1.1 million condo and only make $10,000. Okay, that's going to be a $50,000 wholesale fee, $60,000 wholesale fee all day, right? Might be $100,000 wholesale fee. It just depends on what the margins look like. Okay, cool. Let's see. Said you couldn't find buyers for either. Where are you looking for those type of buyers? A lot of times those are institutional buyers. Like I said, those are probably not one person, right? You're probably going to want to go to a bank, or you're going to want to go to someone like myself that where our bank is buying properties like that, right? You probably want to go to a hedge fund, right? There's hedge funds that buy smaller properties, and hedge funds that only buy bigger, larger properties, or larger denomination properties, right? So you just want to, you know, make sure that you're looking for the right ones. Um, and you can tell me, searching for all these. I don't know. Are you a new investor, or you been in the game for a while? Just let me know. Let me know that. Put a comment in the there below. Um, He said, wish I didn't put them under contract. No, I think it's a good thing that you put under contract, because it's experience. Even if you didn't get to it, now you understand, hopefully on this conversation. This is a property right here. This is why I tell everybody on here, if you are not a real estate agent or a realtor, this is why you need to be able, you need to have a real estate agent or realtor response um, uh, 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 relationship, okay? Because a realtor that can put this on the MLS, number one, understand that properties at that price point, they're typically not, those houses or those properties, they normally take a while to sell. You're not going to have a 30, 45-day close on a property like that, right? So you need to make sure that you have some time in that contract, okay? But I disagree with this statement that's on the screen here. I think it's an excellent thing that you went through that process, because it's not a failure. Like if you've learned from that process, it's not a failure, right? You went through this. If you didn't go through this, you would never have brought this up on this call, and you would have never known that, I look for properties like that, right? So it's not a failure unless you want it to be a failure, right? Good, and I'm glad you did. I see this here. I'm just going down, so I might not. You might have touched Texas in here, so I'm seeing that you learned from the experience, though. So that's good. Um, got it. Got it. Let me see. If a seller owes 45 mortgage or ARV 146 and good comps in an area average 150, what's a good price to get houses under contract? The repairs are cosmetic, minor updating. So again, if the seller owes 45 in the mortgage, the ARV is 146. In this particular case, you haven't told me how much the seller wants, right? If the seller owes 45,000, okay, that's just telling me what the mortgage is, right? What they owe. But what do they want, right? What does the seller want? If you can answer that for me, blue one. If you can answer that real quick, and I see your response there, searching for oldies. That's good. You said that you're a new investor. That's fine. And so new investors, like, man, that's kind of hard for you to. Well, not hard. It's just one of those things that you typically don't know where those buyers are at. But like I said, we just hopefully you got a couple of some insight there. Um, so blue one, if you could tell me what does the seller want, and then also what I can get you to go from there. Um, if you don't know what the seller wants, then it's really simple. Go to ARV. Would you say ARV was 146? Mortgage is 45. And your repairs are cosmetic, minor updating. I don't know what that means, but let's say we're talking $10,000. Okay. I don't know where my eraser is. This thing takes forever to erase. Thanks for bearing with me. But in most parts, and I don't know where you're at, blue one. I don't know what part of the country you're in, but on average, you're talking about a 30% profit margin of what you're looking for, right? So let's do the math together. So based off of that ARV of 146,000, you can times it times 0.7, or you can just subtract 30%, whatever you want to do. That means your all in needs to be at 102. Okay. So all in, $102,200. Okay. And that's if you're wholesaling it. Now, we'll see about some other things, some creative ways of getting to the property, but let's just say you're just wholesaling it. Okay. So at this particular case, if they need to be all in at 102, right? And we're saying mortgage is 45. So let's subtract 45,000. Right. We're at 57.2. All right. And rehab cost is going to be 10,000. So minus 10,000. That leaves you at 47,200. So that means this person needs to spend $102,200 to fit that margin of having a 30% profit margin. Because if they have a 30% profit margin, okay, which is the difference from this ARV of 146 in here, right? That's 30%. It's a 30% profit margin, right? That's what they're looking for. But out of that 30% profit margin, they're only going to walk away with about 16% because they have costs, right? Holding costs. They have realtor costs, real estate agent. Closing costs, capital gains taxes, right? All those things that we don't take in consideration. Um, James, I'll get into you one quick second. So right there, right? So we're looking at all these things that, their 30% is really only about 16%, right? So what they're gonna walk away with, right? Put in their pocket and can actually spend. Okay. So if we do this math, right, they can't really go over anything else 102. So when we do all this math, what do we come up to? That comes to 47,200. Okay. So that's 47,200 that's available. Let me just do the math again to walk you through 146. Let me do it a different way. Minus 30%, right? 102.2, right? That's where they want to be in. We need to subtract what's owed on the mortgage. So the mortgage is taken care of. So there's a zero balance in the mortgage. We need to subtract $10,000 for repair costs. That leaves 47,200 out there free. Okay, which means some of that can go to the seller, some of that can go to you, all of that can go to the seller, all of that can go to you. Depends on what this individual person's problem is. If they're like, man, just pay the mortgage off. I don't care how much money you get. I just want to be done with this property. That means you got $47,200 left over to put as a wholesale fee. Typically, that's not the case. Typically, the homeowner wants something. So let's say that the homeowner says, hey, man, if you pay off this mortgage of $45K and then you put $30,000 in my pocket, right? So then you have to subtract $30,000 to put in your pocket. This means that leaves 17,200 for you and 30K in the seller's pocket, right? Which means they'll be under contract for a total of 75,000. 45,000 plus 30,000 equals 75,000. 45 of that 75,000 is going to the mortgage. 30 of that thousand is going to the seller's pocket, and you get to walk away with that 17,500. Okay. So you just have to, at that point, you have to understand, you have to decide. You got, I think I said 47,000 or so, to play with. So hypothetically, if I locked it up at 50K, would seller walk away with 5K since they owe 5K? Yep, that's exactly right. That's exactly right, Blue. So that's exactly what he said. Hypothetically speaking, if I locked it up at 50K, would seller walk away with 5K since they owe 45K? Yep, that is right. It's not a dumb question. You need to understand, right? That's what we're here for. Where did my man go? I just lost. I'm just gonna go right in order. Okay, cool. What is the list to target? What list do you target? I've been getting a lot of no's lately. It's discouraging at times. Yeah, it can be discouraging for sure. So right now, I'll tell you right now, like that closing that we had yesterday, that was and I want you to think about this, guys, right? That was a tired landlord. He had tenants in there, right? The tenants are paying rent. They're paying it late, but they're paying rent. With everything that's happening, we're going to see more and more tired landlords. I love tired landlord lists. Okay, so I'll give you that one. You should take some time and get a niche tired landlord list, right? Another one I'll give you is that when you do that niche list, make sure that it's someone who purchased the property, I would say at least 10 years ago. Okay. All right. There's certain places you can do this at, but you can't really filter out for age of the owner. But most renters, most people, they're not starting their. I mean, think about it. Most people don't that are starting their real estate career. They're not buying homes at 20 years old, right? So they're buying their homes in their 30s or 40s. And so if you have home ownership for at least 10 years, that gives you a good idea. These individuals are older. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to the people that are older age, right? So if you filter that down on PropStream for people who are a little bit older, tired landlords, they're older, they're getting tired of dealing with them. Out of state landlords, especially now in COVID, that's a hot list. All right. So yeah, those are ones I would be looking for. Let me see. Got you, got you. All right, so let me go to this one. So James says, I have a flip in Phoenix, Scottsdale area that is a pocket listing from a realtor friend. Owner wants 1.6 million. ARV is around 2.8. It needs around 500K in updates and finishes. Let me see here real quick. 2.8. All right. Yes. And on these larger properties, that 30% doesn't always pan out, right? So we're a little bit low on that, but not bad. Like it's the owner wants 1.6. What is that everything? Is that everything included, James? If you can let me know real quick. Is that 1.6 including? Are you? It says realtor friend. So I'm assuming you're wholesaling this property as well. If you are, is that including your fee as well? Because it's tight as is, especially with the $500,000 updating. And did you guys get that? Is your contractor? Does your contractor give you a scope on that to go through and detail that 500K? We can give you some of that information, but um, if that's something that you guys have, let's take a look at that, because that's not too far off. We might want to be a little bit closer to that 1.5 mark. But James, I don't know if you can answer those questions for me. If you can throw that into the chat. He says. So let me see. He says, throw that in there. He says, if you know I'm interested, yeah, we might be interested in that, and if the numbers work. All right. Blue says seller wants 150K, basically retail. If you're talking about that seller for this property, are we talking about the same property? If they want 150K, then yeah, that would be absolutely be retail. That would not work at all. Trying to make sure. Is PropStream good for skip tracing? I honestly have not used it for skip tracing, but a lot of the data is coming from the same place. Um, so someone else might be better at answering. I personally have never used. I use PropStream to build my list, and surprisingly, man, I think they're like 3 cents cheaper than the list that I use. I use REI Skip, but yeah, I don't know. I can't honestly tell you. Christy, what's up, Christy? I have a property with ARV of 535, around 220K in repair. It is way over budget for my buyers. What should I do? Find more buyers. So the ARV is 535, about 200. 20,000 for repairs, and is way over budget. My buyers. Is it still a good deal, Christy? At an ARV of 535, what you have it under contract for, is there still enough profit margin for it to be a good deal, right? So you got to let me know that. And because if it's a good deal, then you're just gonna have to find, new buyers. Some buyers, they just, and it's a preference thing. Some buyers like to stay in a lower profit, a lower price point than others, right? Let's see what James said. It says the property is 1/3 house subdivision. The guy who owns it actually owns one of the other ones as well. So the ARV is based on appraisal of his house at 2.6. The 1.6 million price includes a 3% fee. Okay. Is it 1/3 house? Is it? Are you saying one of 3 house subdivision? So I'm not really understanding what that means. How a 3rd house subdivision, the guy owns it, actually owns one of the other ones as well. So as long as the ARV is okay, all right. So as long as that ARV, I mean, as long as that house is based off, it's going to be built to the same standard of that, then yeah. Um, so yeah, then that 2.6 would be justified, and it includes the 3% fee within that 1.6. James, are you trying to add money on top of that for your wholesale fee, or is that because you're saying that the real estate agent has it? So are you doing? We talked about, and actually, I don't know if you were on here at that time when I was on here earlier when I was saying how as a wholesaler, we work with real estate agents, and I'll have them add their 3% fee onto the back end, so the buyer pays for that 3%. So, is your money coming out of this 3%, James, or are you adding money on top of the 1.6? Because, like I said, it's close, right? It's if we're going to leverage that type of money, we want to make sure that we're getting a decent return, right? We're going to risk that type of money. We want to make sure that we're getting a nice return. So, okay, cool. So you're splitting with commission. So, what I would do is if I were, if you can, send the information to, let me just send it to, you can just send it to my email here. Send it to that email address there, and then I'll take a look at it. Send me all the information you got. So I'm going to need, obviously the numbers on what you got a contract for. If you guys have a scope already, we need to see that scope. I need to see the appraisal for that $2.6 million property, and any agreement that you guys have. And then, like I said, our bank is an investment bank, so we have $500 million we're looking to deploy, or we're looking to lend out, and so with me being a principal, I can go as long as the deal works, as long as it makes sense, right? And we can try to make something happen. So send that information there to me. Stacy says $5 for 20 numbers in PropStream. Okay, that's a good $5 for 20 numbers in PropStream. I don't know. Actually, no, I don't know if that's good. No, it's not good, because I think that's it's not. I don't know why it's that. It should be. It's like well, maybe they're doing a tier thing. Maybe they're doing a tiered type of a deal. But yeah, $5. I would spend more to get more. Let me see. Christy says $300,000. That's in reference to her question up here. So $320,000 repairs. That seems like that works, Christy. That seems like, I mean, that seems like that spread is plenty big enough. 535K minus 30% minus your 300. What's your minus 20? What is your wholesale fee? What are your wholesale fee that you're trying to get? No problem, James. So we're gonna go ahead and start to wrap this one up. Again, just wanting to after Christy lets me know what she wants to hit people over the head for. So Let me know what you guys. This is something that we're doing every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Bring your questions. Bring your deals. You never know. Somebody on here might want to buy your deal. Who knows, right? But if you don't bring them here, if you don't take the chance and put it into the chat, you never know. All right. So again, this thing is every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're hopping on here, YouTube Live, Facebook Live at the same time, and this is sponsored by Connectly, man. So make sure you guys check out Connectly, get your 7-day free trial, and make sure that you get in there, man. Because once you get in there, it only takes you about 2 to 3 days, and next thing you know, your leads are coming in. Right? I just did a Instagram Live. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram Live, go to @TommyHolt Jr. And you can see my last post. I did one with a guy, Devin. He has about 21 leads that have come in the last 5 days. He's already in negotiation talks with two of them, and one he's really, really, hopeful for. So, and he already has one person that said they're selling, but they're going to sell next year. So it doesn't take a lot. Christy is also in here. She's in our system as well. So 10 or whatever is left after the repairs. Okay, cool. So yeah, Christy, let's talk about that, because that could be another one that we might want to take a look at as well. Like I said, we're not going to buy everything. Not every deal works, but we want to be able, if something makes sense and there's a good profit margin in between there, we got cash to deploy. So cool. All right, everybody. Well, you guys have a blessed one. We're going to wrap this one up, man. I hope you guys have a blessed evening, and stay safe out there. Go visit connectly.com right now. Start your 7-day free trial. Let me know what you think. I guarantee you, just by going through the course, you're going to learn something new. And then at the end of the day, if you don't like it, cancel it, and you won't get charged. As long as you cancel it before the 7th day, you get to go through the course and learn that material for yourself. Be a part of the group, get into the Facebook group, and man, we will. I guarantee you, it's going to change your mind on how you market from here in the future. All right, you guys have a blessed one, man. Take care and be safe. Peace.